Hello everyone, this lecture video is all about the Cori cycle, and we can define Cori cycle as the cyclic biochemical process in which glucose is converted to lactate in muscle tissue. The lactate is then reconverted to glucose in the liver, and the glucose is returned to the muscle tissue. So, the Cori cycle is named after Gertie Radnetz's Cori and Carl Cori, which is a husband and team wife who discovered this cycle. They were awarded a Nobel Prize in 1947, and they are the third husband and wife team that has been recognized by the Nobel Prize Committee. So, the first husband and wife to be recognized is Marie and Pierre Curie, and their daughter, Irene, and Irene's wife, which is Frederick Joliot Curie, is the second husband and team wife that has been awarded by Nobel Prize. And then, so let us proceed here. What will happen first is the lactate in the liver. Okay, so it will be reconverted into pyruvate. And through the process of gluconeogenesis, it will be converted into glucose. Then this glucose, if there's a depletion in the glycogen level, and since, for example, you are performing an strenuous exercise or you are fasting and your body needs a source of energy, so when that happens, this glucose from the liver will be transported in the blood to the cells in the skeletal muscle, and then here in the skeletal muscle, the glucose here will be converted through the process of glycolysis into two pieces of pyruvate, which is one of the fates of pyruvate is the lactate. And then again, this lactate here in the skeletal muscle, when there is an accumulation, the body will try to homeostat that or to balance that by transporting the excess lactate into the blood and into the liver, so that this lactate will be stored here in the liver. And again, the lactate here will be converted again into pyruvate. Then the pyruvate will be converted into glucose to the process of gluconeogenesis. So this is a continuous process, and this will pump faster when you are performing a strenuous exercise on your skeletal muscle cells. And then, such as this one, you have here your lactate here from the liver, which will be converted into pyruvate, which will be converted into glucose. Then the glucose will be transported into the blood and will enter the cells of your muscle, which will consume the glucose as a source of energy. For example, when you are fasting and when you are performing a strenuous exercise, then this glucose here will be converted into pyruvate. And again, it will be releasing two pieces of ATP. And if there is an excess glucose, it will be converted into pyruvate, then into lactate. Then this lactate will again enter the bloodstream through the liver again, and the cycle will continue and continue. So this is the process by which the lactate is being converted into pyruvate. So here is the lactate, and it will react with the oxidized form of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide with the help of the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, which will remove the hydrogen here. Okay, so when it removed that, you will be having two bonds that will be connected to each other since it will remove the hydrogen here. So you will have a C here and a double bond for oxygen. Then you will have here now the pyruvate. Now then the hydrogen here will be added to the NAD plus here. Then you will have now the reduced form of nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. And then the other hydrogen will be a free hydrogen ion here. So this is the conversion of lactate to pyruvate in liver. So let us discuss furthermore the lactation. So lactation is the process of producing breast milk, usually when you are pregnant. So when you are pregnant, the pituitary gland in your brain will release the prolactin, which will increase or which will signal the release of lactate in your breast. This is the prolactin located in pituitary gland in our brain. So there are also cases, because I said here that lactation usually, but there are instances that lactation occurs in any gender, whether you are male or female, who are not pregnant, and we call this condition as Galactorrhea. So this Galactorrhea happens when you have a problem in liver, in which the liver cannot convert the lactate into pyruvate. So when that happens, the lactate is being released in your breast, even though you are not pregnant, because there is a problem with the liver and the liver cannot convert the lactate into pyruvate. One of the triggers of lactation are pregnancy. If you are pregnant, prolactin will be released by your hormone, and the release of prolactin triggers the breast milk, and it also through breast stimulation during a sexual activity. This occurrence is very rare, okay, when you are not pregnant. And also, there are instances that the mother is pregnant but she can't produce a milk. So one of the ways of the elders is to pump the breast or to exercise the breast. So exercising the breast by pumping will trigger the release of lactate in pregnant women. So this is one of the remedies for if the pregnant woman cannot produce a milk. Okay, so those are the triggers. And then production of lactate occurs in cells without mitochondria, as you are already familiar with, in red blood cells, which happens when you are performing a very strenuous exercise. If there is a lactate accumulation or lactic acidosis, as we call it, you will be experiencing muscle cramps. And it also occurs in cells with few mitochondria, such as white blood cells, retina, and renal medulla. So in your eyes, it is normal to have a lactate there. But if there's an accumulation of lactate or lactate acidosis, as we call it, in lens, cornea, and retina, you will be experiencing a blurry vision, eye strain, or what we know as asthenopia, and eye cramps as well. This happens, for example, when you are wearing a tightly fitting lens in which your eyes are experiencing fatigue in wearing them, causing a blockage in the oxygen. So when that happens, production of lactate will occur to sustain the energy that your eyes needed. And then next, we have here the amplification of lactate production by skeletal muscle in aerobic conditions. So we call the anaerobic conditions or condition in which there is a limited supply of oxygen or oxygen deficient condition as hypoxia. So this hypoxia might occur generally throughout your body if you are experiencing a disease, or just a local region, such as, for example, your arms. So when you are exercising using a barbell, okay, you are using your arms, there's a region here that needs the constant supply of energy, and for that it will produce lactate, and that lactate will be converted into glucose to be used as a source of energy. So here I have mentioned here the accumulation of lactate or excess lactate or lactic acidosis. Cori cycle is very important in as a pathway in our body, because if there is a accumulation of lactate or lactic acidosis, it can be disposed in the Cori cycle. Okay, so our liver must be healthy as always. So it is important to take care of our liver, not just to protect the insulin level or the glucose level, but as well to protect the dysfunctions here. So that is all for Cori cycle.